Jefferson had contemporaries still who thought a great deal about education and the role it should play, as well in the early republic. For example, Benjamin Rush, a medical doctor, provided not just an essay on a national system of education in the United States, he also provided one that was different than Jefferson on the thoughts of what role women should play in society and what type of education they should have. And so in the minds of someone like Rush, he thought that by their very nature, schools could be a remedy for a number of the concerns that we have in society and life. And so it's here, to use one of his quotes, he says, "Our schools of learning, by producing one general and uniform system of education, will render the mass of the people more homogeneous and thereby fit them more easily for uniform and peaceful government." And essentially what he's saying is that schools in their very essence, in their very nature, can transform us from the diversity that we see into one commonality, that we truly can become an American rather than see ourselves as some modification of something other. His views on women as well differed from Jefferson. He firmly thought women should be educated beyond just those 3 years of schooling, but he didn't disagree with Jefferson in the sense that women should be educated much more so for the private sphere than for the public sphere. He had this concept called Republican motherhood, and he very much wanted women to fit within that mold. So women should be good mothers to their children. They should be good wives to their husbands, but it wasn't something that would be deemed respectable for them to go out into the public sphere and do something for themselves on their own terms, to become the kind of citizen, to become the kind of producer of knowledge that they wanted to be in society. There are a number of historians who have laid out discourse and discussion and offered good conversation on Rush's views about women and his thoughts on female education. And I've provided a short video clip by Carol Birkin who can add some additional clarification on this matter. The last major revolutionary figure that we'll talk about is Noah Webster, who also gave considerable thought about the formation of the United States. Most of us are aware of his spelling book. Its first publication date is in 1783, but yet here we see an essay of his in 1790, just 15 years, Lily, roughly speaking, after the Declaration of Independence and just a handful of years after the drafting and ratification of the Constitution, where he has an essay on the education of youth in America. And it's here that Webster articulates his own rationale for what schools should be providing. He wants us to have something that is distinct in language, distinct in history, distinct in behavior, and distinct in practice from anything that was ever espoused or created in Europe. So it's here that Webster wanted to establish a way that we can begin to use schools to ensure that children would become both patriotic and have a strong sense of nationalism. So whether you are attending school in Massachusetts or you're attending school in South Carolina or any new territory that will become a state, it's here that these individuals will learn from a common curriculum. They will learn from a common structure to ensure that they will become a common people, in this case, Americans. And so you see him push and prod for this establishment of education in the United States. He never reached the point of saying that education should be a fundamental right in the United States. Only Jefferson raised that point in consideration, and he probably did it most outspokenly in his sixth annual address to the nation, which now we call inaugural addresses, in 1806. And it was here that Jefferson actually calls for a constitutional amendment to establish a national system of public education. But Webster is a very close second in this regard of arguing the utility of having a national system of education to ensure that we produce the kind of citizen needed for the nation to progress.